Echoes and Shadows, Hunted by Bigfoot. Years ago, in Yellowstone National Park, hunters, Ethan and Lucas, delved deep into the snowy forest in search of food. They had been lost for days during an especially harsh winter. With their supplies depleted, they tracked and finally cornered a deer, their hands shaking from the cold as they prepared their rifles. At the critical moment, their shot, meant to secure their sustenance, missed its mark and instead hit the thick trunk of a tree. Everything changed in an instant. The trunk let out a deafening scream. To the hunters' horror, the figure they had taken for part of the landscape stood up, revealing a simian creature over 8 feet tall, wounded and furious, glaring at them threateningly. The creature began to charge at them. Driven by pure survival instinct, the hunters ran desperately, tumbling down the snowy mountain slope. For 2 whole days, Bigfoot tracked them. Several times he caught up, but the hunters hid and then fled in another direction once the ape had passed. The only sounds in the white silence of winter were their heartbeats and the heavy breathing of the beast behind them. Finally, exhausted after 2 long days of running and hiding, without eating or drinking water, and with no hope of escape, Bigfoot caught them. In an act of vengeance, he hung them from a tree, leaving them there, suspended in the frosty winter, deciding what to do with them. Another entire day passed with the hunters hanging from a tree, the creature nearby, and they sensed they might be eaten with every sound they heard. Periodically, the creature would walk to the top of the ridge and emit cries, as if calling someone. He would return, look at the hunters with hatred, and sit on the ground waiting. When all seemed lost, and the hunters thought they were going to be eaten at any moment, another Bigfoot appeared on the scene, older and wiser. The 2 creatures argued in a language impossible to understand, but filled with gestures and slaps. The discussion was long, after which Bigfoot, who had captured them, left, not without giving them a look of hatred. Carefully, the new Bigfoot lowered them from the tree and sat them on the ground. He brought them branches and indicated through gestures that they should light a fire to warm themselves. This kind and non-aggressive Bigfoot spent the entire night trying to communicate with the 2 hunters. It was evident he wanted to tell them something, but his language was incomprehensible. Finally, seeing that they did not understand him, he took a stick and began to draw the story of his people on the ground, talking about the great original war between Bigfoots and humans a long time ago. He explained that the humans won, and the few remaining Bigfoots started to live hidden in remote places. He clarified that he did not plan to kill them, but he insisted heavily that they must keep the secret of their existence. At dawn, Bigfoot led the hunters through paths in the forest, walking several miles to the road leading out of Yellowstone Park. When he left them, he stared into their eyes, raised a hand to his mouth signaling they should not tell anyone about this. Ethan and Lucas looked at each other, and when they turned their heads to look at Bigfoot again, he was no longer there. Hunters' lives were forever changed. They never hunted again, and never shared the details of the story that Bigfoot drew that night by the fire. It was the beginning of an eternal respect and fear for the unknown creatures that silently rule the world's forgotten corners.